Hey all you YouTubers, welcome back. New subscribers, welcome to another video by jmadden. This is going to be an update on the 60-gallon Reef. It is day 21, so here we are in week 3 post reconstruction, and I've got zero complaints. Nothing, no complaints, nothing to complain about. The tank is doing excellent. Water parameters are just amazing. You know, no phosphates, no nitrates, no nothing. So I'm really pleased with it. Salinity has been really stable. You know, my auto top off has been doing an awesome job. Been using good RO water for top off water. I've been being really stingy in how I feed the tank. You know, my tank is all LPS, so a lot of my corals require feeding. You know, some may say, oh, they don't need feeding, but there's a reason why they have feeder tentacles to feed. And just light, you know, they're not going to thrive and be the best that they can be under just lighting. So one of the things that I do to really minimize the amount of excess nutrients entering my system, I use like cubes of like pre-mixed frozen food. I use a food called Marine Fusion, and if you look at the product, you know, only a certain percentage of it is actually the food. The rest is like water and other kinds of things that aren't useful and definitely aren't good for your tank. So what I do is I take a couple cubes, toss them in a small Tupperware container, let them thaw out in some tank water. Then I take the contents of the bowl, dump it into like a small net to strain it, and then I reintroduce some more water into the bowl, and then I use the baster to suck up the food and feed it to the tank, target feed everything. What this does is it just eliminates all the excess, because if you guys give this a try, you know, instead of just chucking a cube of food in the water, you'll see a huge difference. And one of the differences for me is that from time to time I would just throw a cube in here before when I had a ton of fish, you know, and they would just rip it apart and food would go everywhere, so there was a lot of stuff that was just getting wasted, a lot of excess nutrients. So definitely learn from that. You know, if you can take anything away, you know, just be meticulous in how you feed your tank. What else is going on? You know, I made a couple little changes here and there, moved some stuff around in the tank. I got a couple new corals, got rid of some corals, moved the overflow box a little more towards the center, you know, to the right a little bit, so that's cool. Moved the MP10 on the right closer to the front of the glass because the anemones were just getting ridiculous. So try and keep this video, you know, as short as possible, so I'll go ahead and I'll give a rundown on all the corals, let you get a close-up on them and see how they're doing. We're going to try and do a weekly update on this tank. I may not be able to upload the videos every 7 days, but the videos will be shot 7 days apart, you know, to keep it consistent week by week. So let's jump into it, guys. Show you what's going on. Start out here with the fish. The clownfish are doing great. They've been displaying a lot of pairing behavior, because as you recall in the past, the clownfish over here, the one that's nearer to us, that used to be the male from my previous pair, which had been together for about, I don't know, like almost 3 years. And the other clownfish in the back there is just a smaller clownfish that I introduced after the female clownfish was killed by one of my other fish. And you know, the smaller of the two would always be doing a little like seizure type dance, I call it, when they shake really fast, kind of twitching. And the female was just like, you know, whatever, you can still hang out in my frog spawn. But just recently, the female has started doing the same behavior as well, so I'm hoping that's a good thing. They've been cleaning their rock a lot, so maybe some spawning may occur. We'll have to see what happens. We'll be watching that. Yellow tang doing great. The color on him is just awesome. He's fattening up, filling in. All of his fins are looking great. They were looking a little ragged before, but now he's just looking like a much healthier fish. Moving on to the corals, the clownfish's frog spawn is doing awesome. Just the extension on the polyps is just, I don't know, it hasn't been like this for a long time. Haven't seen it like this since I first got it. My water was, and my tank was doing really good, but over time the tank degraded, and so did the coral, so it's coming back and it's looking awesome. This mushroom here, hanging on, doing good. It's real close to this frog spawn now. This frog spawn has just come an insane way. I mean, this thing is huge. You can't really see it because it's actually like sitting inside of this rock, like down in it, but it's huge. It used to be like a third of the size of this one when I got it. Now it's just, it's huge. It's like double the size of that one. And I'm sure this one would be larger if the Clams weren't hosting on it, you know, because it's not a natural hosting thing for, you know, for clownfish. So yeah, so I'm really happy with that. The Duncans, these ones are up here now. They were over on the other side of the tank, but had to move some corals around, and this is where I placed them. They seem to be doing really good. Kind of want them closer to the light to kind of see what color I can get out of them. They didn't have much color before. They were from a really dimly lit tank, and they were at the bottom, so they were reaching up. Like, these polyps were probably like 1.5 inches tall trying to get to the light. So curious to see what kind of color I get out of those. Green star polyps up here on the overflow, doing great. Little pallies on the bottom there of the overflow. The red ones are good. Used to just be 2 polyps, now there's 3. You know, they were up there for a while, there was no growth. Now I've already got 1 full new polyp, and there's a 4th one starting to form. These green star polyps, same as the others. Now this bubble coral is just a monster now. I mean, the skeleton is probably only about 3.5 inches, but this thing probably swells to at least like 7 or 8 inches across. I mean, it's just, it takes up this whole spot. You can kind of get an idea for how large it is, kind of seeing the reflection. So it's doing good. It's eating quite a bit. Pulsing Xenia, doing good. Splitting. Was kind of like 1.5 stalks. Now 1 stalk is kind of totally broken free. The one that's closest on the left, and the one further away has already kind of like split into 2. It looks like a V shape. Elegance coral. I got mixed feelings on it. Seems to be doing better than it has in the past. Still got good color. Not really accepting food the way I'd like it, but hopefully that will change. Acan echinata, doing good, filling back in. Good coloration. Got something new today down here. Got this here. It's an orange torch. Some people call it a gold torch. Get out of there, Tang. Get out. Anyway, there he goes. And it's more orange than gold. I've seen these things online for a while. They go for a lot of money, and I told myself I'd never pay what online prices were asking, and you know, I got a little hookup from a guy at a local fish store, and you know, I've known him for a while, so he was able to make some magic happen and got this piece here. I think it's just 1 head, but hopefully it'll grow and expand and become a nice little colony. So watch this one. Really nice. I just love the orange on it. It's really cool. Acans are doing really good. Man, haven't had acans do this well in my tank before. I mean, you see little feeder tentacles that are just kind of out, like during the day. I've never really seen that before, not the way these are now. Got to be a sign of good health. I mean, these polyps are big, fat, and plump. This one back here was looking like crap for a little while. About a week ago, it was just totally, shrunk in. It wouldn't expand at all. So I moved it over here, a little bit lower flow. It's kind of shaded by the frog spawn a little bit, and it's just really come around. It looks a lot better, so I'm glad I did that. This colony is doing really good. The polyps are huge. Some new colors are coming out since switching to the ATI bulbs. Inside the mouth there's like purple, and kind of around the edge of the mouth there's also purple, and really nice, cool little piece. These acans here in the back, focusing on it, doing really good. They have this really fast feeding response. They don't sit idle the way the other acans do, but whenever food goes in the water, these things just open up really fast. It almost looks like high-speed film. Like you would swear that the video has been sped up when it happens. Got this acan too today, a little frag, like 10 heads or something, $15, whatever. Took a chance on it. See on that back polyp, it's got some red. It's kind of in a tank that doesn't really have intense lighting, so kind of got washed out, kind of green and gray, but hopefully it comes around the way this one did, because this one used to not look anything like this. All the gold and stuff that you see in it wasn't there when I got it, so see what happens. Got this really cool bubble coral, a little bit different species than the other one. I think the other one's from Indonesia. This one is an Australian type. The coral skeleton structure is much different. This particular species is a lot more delicate in my opinion, because the way the skeleton forms underneath is really brittle and really fragile, and if you break it, it becomes sharp. Like you can kind of see on the right side there's little dark spots. I don't know if I can just focus in on it, but you can kind of see where the skeleton's poking through a little bit, and I made sure when I handled this thing to be as careful as possible, but it still can be damaged, so you got to be careful with that. Other than that, it's doing really good polyp extension. Feeding tentacles are ridiculous at night, so that's doing good. These red mushrooms here are doing what mushrooms do. They just multiply. It doesn't really matter what your water quality is, they're still gonna live long and prosper. Foreground here, my expensive piece of live rock. The trumpets up here are doing nice. They're not fully inflated yet, but they are looking better, even though there still is some skeletons showing through the polyps. Candy canes are doing about the same as last time you saw them. Kind of getting a little more of their bluish color back. What you're seeing there, the bright ones, that isn't like totally white. It's this really bright green. It's actually hard to look at. It's actually dimmed down a little bit by looking through the camera. Polyphylla grandis. These polyps are just awesome. You see the little, I guess, hairs on the edge, and these things, when I first got them, they would catch stuff out of the water column, but then once again, as my water quality was getting worse, it would just stop feeding on actual meaty foods. But now they're back to their former glory, I guess you'd say, and these polyps are probably about 2 inches plus in diameter. Really cool. Clams are doing good. Maxima on the right, doing well. Doesn't mind sitting on the sand, but the crochet clam would prefer to be anchored to something. You can kind of see the foot down there. I really don't know where to put it. I really don't have a spot to put it yet because of all the aptasia. If I can't find a spot soon, I'll probably just trade it in or sell it or something. Wellsophilia radiata, or Wellsophilia Jeffrey, whatever you want to call it. This thing is huge. I didn't realize how large it was. This thing is about the size of my hand, and my hand's pretty big. I can palm a basketball, no problem, so probably at least 10 inches across now. Just amazing how far this coral has come too from when I originally purchased it. It's probably doubled in size, maybe even tripled in size. Look back at some of my older videos when I first introduced this. It's a totally different coral now. Right here we got a little piece of Acropora. Got it for free. Sitting on a guy's frag rack just the way it is, so I just set it on the bottom just to kind of test out and see how SPS will respond in my system. Has really good polyp extension, kind of these fluorescent green polyps. Of course, there's a hermit crab right here agitating it so you can't see it, but the polyp extension is really good on it, so I'm happy about that. All these mushrooms are doing good, multiplying, you know, as always. Another little free frag that I got is this little piece of chalice. I think it's like a Tyree blue, whatever. I don't really care about the stage names, but it looks the same way as it did when I got it. You know, the little piece of acro is already showing growth, so you know, we'll see. We'll see if this one starts showing growth too. I'm not for sure. So my videos are kind of like video journals for me as well. So Duncans are doing really well. Polyps are just getting huge, bigger by the day. Smaller polyps underneath it are also growing in size. This thing catches food and just devours it. The reason why I moved the other Duncans was because I got this colony of hammer here. I think it's like 21 or 22 heads or something, I'm not for sure, but just a gorgeous piece. And it kind of fits in here really nice. The look I was really trying to go with the tank is just to kind of have a minimal rockscape, but have like corals like they've grown in to the area around it. So this piece I'm really happy with. You can kind of get a good feel for the size of it. It's probably like 2 softballs kind of size, so it's really nice. The Favia is doing well. It's getting pestered by Aptasia. It's just, it's driving me crazy. Got to get those nudibranchs. Hopefully they'll be here soon. They're still being cultured. But this one shows feeding tentacles now too, so that's a plus. This torch coral up here is doing really well. The flow is just perfect for it. It's not getting beaten around too much. I turned the MP10s down again, so they're at about, I don't know, around 50%, maybe a little less power, and I think that's really good for my tank because I'm not really keeping really sensitive SPS type corals, so LPS don't need nearly as much flow. So these particles flying around because the clownfish are stirring up the bottom. Move down here. This Lobo is doing great. Coloration is awesome. Inflation is great too. This one over here is doing really well also. Really fat and plump. I'll take a look over here at the rose bubble tip anemones, which are just insane. It's funny because this anemone before it split was about the size that just this front one is now, but now I have, you know, I've got 2 of them that are about the same size. So this whole side of the tank here is like anemones. I'm not sure if you can see under here, but yeah, you can see the stalk there in the center. That's the smaller one, because when the anemones split, it's split into 3, so it's pretty cool. Kind of give you a shot down the tank. Get some depth to it here. So yeah, I don't think I really missed anything as far as the tank goes. This video kind of ended up being longer than I kind of wanted it to be. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I do, making the videos and sharing them with y'all. As always, you know, feel free to leave a comment, like my videos if you like them. Stay tuned for more updates. jmadden signing out.